Today we're going to be covering all things pH, what to use to test it and what to use to adjust it, and also how to do that. So keep watching and I'll show you how I do it. So there's a few things you can use to adjust pH, pH strips and pH meters. There's a couple I'm going to show you in this video. Basically you need to test pH for your products if you are making aqueous products. You don't need to adjust pH if you are making anhydrous products because they don't have a pH. So we'll start off with some distilled water and our pH strips, just to do a little control so I can show you how they work. Basically you just tear a strip of your pH paper and then dip it in the water. pH paper works with liquid very well. You can see it's changing colour there at the end, and then you can use the handy little colour wheel that comes on the pH strip roll to match it up, and it'll tell you the pH of what you've just measured. The thing to remember with pH strips is they're reasonably accurate, but they're not 100% because they're only whole numbers. That tested water is about a pH of 7, which is what it said on the colour wheel, so we can assume they're fairly accurate. Now I'm using this foaming bath whip to show you that you can't use pH strips to test lotions and creams. It just doesn't work. So how would you use pH strips to do this? Well, you need to dilute it in some water. So what I'm going to do is take this beaker and put a little bit of my product using a sanitised spoon into my beaker, and then add a little bit of water. Some people will say you need to add a specific amount of water. Honestly, all I need to feel that I need to do is just make it into a liquid enough solution that the pH can be read. Because some people will tell you that the pH is affected by the water. I think that is true, but it's only marginal. So obviously if you add more water, it probably affects it more. That's just my opinion. If you think differently, please leave a comment below. So that's how you measure with pH strips. You have to create a liquid. To measure with a pH meter, first I'm going to demonstrate with this pH meter that I just showed you. This can actually measure lotions and creams without them being diluted. So the first thing we're going to do is calibrate the pH meter, because we want to make sure that it reads accurately. To do this we need two solutions. One is a pH 4 buffer solution and one is a pH 7 buffer solution. The bit I just pointed to was the electrode, and this is what reads the pH. So first turn your pH meter on, and you need to rinse it in your distilled water solution, and then place it in your pH 4 buffer solution and press the cal button. You'll see it comes up as cal on the screen, and then you just wait for it to read the pH, and then it will say end when it's ready, and it will remember that pH. Once it's done that, you can rinse it again in the distilled water, because you don't want any of the pH 4 solution to affect your next reading. Put it in your pH 7 solution, press cal again, wait for it to read the pH and say end, and then you can rinse it again in the distilled water. And what it would have done is remembered the pH 4 and the pH 7, which allows it to make accurate readings of anything you're testing the pH of. The other thing with this pH meter is the cap. Because it's a flat electrode, you want to keep it very safe and undamaged. So there's a little sponge inside the cap, and it's recommended that you pour a little bit of your pH 4 solution into the cap onto the sponge. This keeps the end of the electrode moist and makes sure that it doesn't break. You do need to replace them occasionally though, they are quite sensitive, and if you don't use your pH meter a lot, then make sure you are checking on it, calibrating it and replacing this solution so it doesn't crystallize on the end. So now let's use it to test the pH of some cream. We're going to use the same cream as before and put a little bit in a beaker, except this time, because this measures creams and lotions, we don't need to dilute it beforehand. We can put the pH meter directly into the cream. So always give it a little rinse first, because you want to make sure that that pH 4 solution is off the end before you put it into your product. I should also mention I'm all doing this from one beaker, but you'd want to put a little sample of your product into a beaker, test that pH, and then if you're adjusting it, adjust the main batch and then retest small samples again, just so you're not contaminating your main batch. And all you do is put the pH meter directly into the cream, wait until the number stops flashing, and then you should have an accurate reading of your cream. Often the pH meters will read quite a lot different from pH strips or liquid testing pH meters. So for that reason, I do think the water does affect it, but you can make up your own mind. I'm interested in people's opinions, so do put a comment below if you have an opinion either way. So this is the next pH meter I'm testing. This was gifted to me by dipslides.com. They're the ones that do the CRBS dip slides and the incubator that I used in a previous video about cosmetic testing. If you haven't watched that, please go and watch that. It's really quite interesting and a very good thing to do if you make cosmetics. So this comes with a little pouch of buffer solution, but obviously I've got two prepared already, so I'm just going to use those. This has doesn't have a flat electrode, and will measure liquids, and it also takes the temperature, which is really handy, so you can do both at the same time. Space for the batteries up there, and it works in much the same way as the other one. We turn it on, you can see the temperature flashing below. You can adjust this to be Fahrenheit if you prefer, depending how you read it in your country. It's very easy, and then we're just going to calibrate it the same way, pop it in the 4 buffer solution, press cal, and then wait for it to read the pH and say end, and then it would have recorded that. And then you need to rinse it off and do the same with the pH 7. I am wiping it slightly with a lint-free cloth. Be very careful of the electrode when you do this, you don't want to touch the electrode. And then do this with your 7 solution, same thing, and then it's calibrated and it will be able to accurately read the pH of your products. So now that's calibrated, let's do the same test again, but using this pH meter. And we've got our bath whip again, but we need to add water again. I'm adding a little bit more water than I did before for the pH strips, because I need to make sure that the electrode is fully submerged, so I need at least enough water for it to do that. So I'm going to do that, mix it thoroughly, turn it on, and then just put it straight into the solution that you've made. Wait for the pH to settle, and then once that's settled and continues to stay on the same pH for a few seconds, then you're free to read that as the pH for your product. Like I said, the meters are reading a bit differently from the pH strips. They're also reading a little bit differently from each other. That's to be expected. As I said, it could be to do with the amount of water added, or other factors. They're all going to be slightly different, but as long as they're in the same ballpark, you have an idea, as long as you're in a safe range for skincare products. So it's up to you which one you need for your range of products. The one on the left will measure creams and lotions, so if you make a lot of those, it's probably quite useful. The one on the right measures lots of liquids, so if you do lots of toners and mists and things like that, then I'd highly recommend that. It also takes the temperature, so for that reason alone, I do highly recommend that one. And then of course, if you can't budget for those at the moment, then you can use pH strips. I do have a kindly given to us by dipslides.com. I do have a code for some money off that particular pH meter. They do also sell other meters and pH strips and buffer solution on their site. So go check that out and use the discount code below to get yourself a little bit of money off. And that is your selection. Ideally you'd have all of them because they all seem to have their place depending what product you're making, but what you choose will very much depend on your budget and what you want to make. So I hope that has helped. So now we'll get on to making some of our own pH buffer solutions, because you don't use the calibrating solutions to adjust your products. You need product safe ingredients. So to adjust the pH down, we make a citric acid solution. To do this you need 50% distilled water and 50% citric acid. Pop that in a beaker, stir it around until it dissolves. It'll take a little while, but eventually it will go clear, and that's what you'll use to reduce the pH of your products. Then to increase the pH of your products, you have a couple of options. The option I'm using here is L-Arginine. I get this from a skin and hair manufacturinghub.com. They've kindly given you a discount again in the box below if you want to buy some for yourself. I'd suggest this for people that don't want to use sodium hydroxide. It's a lot easier to use. You just do a solution of 10% in distilled water and mix that up to let it dissolve. It does take a little while and it may stay a little bit cloudy, but that's fine, it still works. If you were to use sodium hydroxide, you'd make it in exactly the same way, but you'd want gloves, long sleeves, goggles, respirator, and to be extremely careful because sodium hydroxide is very, very caustic. So now we've got our solutions. I suggest getting some pipettes because they're easier to use and control what you're adding to your product. So we'll just take the pH with some pH strips for this little experiment, and we'll take the initial pH, see what that is at the moment. So for now it's reading roughly about a 6, and we're going to try reducing it up and down. Now if you're actually doing this for a product, like I said earlier, test the pH in a small beaker but adjust in the main batch. For the sake of this video I'm just doing it all in one beaker, but make sure you do it the other way round. Add a few drops of your citric acid and stir it really, really, really thoroughly, and then you can test the pH, and you can see instantly that's gone red, so that has reduced the pH a reasonable amount. And just match it to our little table here. There we go. And what we're going to do now is increase the pH. Now you wouldn't keep adjusting up and down in the same product. You'd either do one or the other based on your initial reading, so don't do this because you don't want to do this in a proper product, but for the sake of this experiment we'll just use the same beaker. Mix that in and then we'll see if that has adjusted it up at all. And remember, the pH strips can measure this quite accurately because it is a liquid, or you could use your pH meter that I showed you before that measures liquid products. And there you can match it and see if it's gone up any. And yes, it has. We've brought it back up just a little bit. The thing to note about L-arginine over sodium hydroxide is that you will need a reasonable amount more to increase the pH, as it is very alkaline, but it's slightly weaker, so be prepared to use a little bit more of it. But that said, it's a lot less stressful to use, so I do recommend it. We're going to do this a couple more times with the L-arginine to see if we can get it a bit higher. When adjusting pH, just remember on your product labels, you do need to include the pH adjuster on your label. It will likely be used in such a small amount that it only needs to be at the very, very end of your ingredients list, but make sure you do include it. So this is after the third adjustment, and you can see we've now got it up to about a 7. So we have increased it. I won't continue because it's taken quite a while, but I'll show you how the pH strips react in just the neat citric acid solution and L-arginine. You can see that's highly acidic, and the L-arginine goes instantly blue, so it's highly alkaline. So that's the scale you're working on. You can get pH buffers for your digital pH scales that go up to a 12. However, there's no reason you would ever need that, because any skincare products you're making are likely going to be in the sort of very lowest 3.5 to 7 at the highest, really. So there's no point. Here's the sodium hydroxide caustic soda. You can get this from most suppliers. It wants to be stored in a cool, dry place, well out of the way of children and pets, and any damp or anything like that. And you must always wear PPE when using it. I recommend always pour the sodium hydroxide into the water, never the other way round. And a lot of people will say they go and make it outside and carry it back in. I'd never recommend that. If you're carrying something back in from outside, you could trip, you could knock into something, and a spillage could be disastrous. You could really severely burn yourself. So make it where you're working on a nice, flat, well ventilated surface. Yeah, just be mindful of what you're doing, much like if you're cooking with boiling water, and you'll be absolutely fine. Now this information is in greater detail in my Formulation for Beginners course, which, if I haven't got it linked down below already, will be coming out soon. So please do check that out if you want to learn more, and I'll see you in the next video.